President Trump rolled the dice on global trade. He slapped tariffs on imports. This ignited a trade war. Markets shuddered. The S&P 500, a key indicator of the U.S. stock market, plunged. It lost a staggering $2.5 trillion in a single day. It was the worst performance in half a decade. Investors hit the panic button. They worried about the consequences of Trump's actions. China, a major trading partner, didn't stand idly by. They retaliated. Tariffs on American goods were their weapon of choice. The trade war escalated. Uncertainty gripped the global economy. Businesses grew anxious. The future looked murky. Economists issued warnings. The tariffs, they argued, were a dangerous gamble. They could backfire. Instead of boosting American industry, they might cripple it. The costs would be borne by ordinary Americans. Prices would rise. Jobs could be lost, the very opposite of what Trump promised. The situation was volatile, the markets were on edge, the world held its breath. Trump's tariff turmoil had unleashed chaos. The question was, would it lead to ruin? The White House struggled to explain itself. Trump's administration offered conflicting narratives about the tariffs. One minute, they were a negotiating tactic. The next, they were a firm stance. Confusion reigned supreme. Trump himself sent mixed signals. He suggested he might be open to negotiation, but then, Commerce Secretary Lutnick contradicted him. Lutnick insisted that Trump would not back down. The tariffs were here to stay. Adding to the confusion, trade advisor Peter Navarro offered yet another interpretation. He asserted that the tariffs were not about negotiation at all. They were about protecting American interests. The administration seemed to be speaking in tongues. No one knew what the tariffs were really about. Was it a negotiating ploy, a show of strength, a misguided attempt to protect American jobs? The lack of clarity only deepened the sense of chaos. Economists warned of dire consequences. The tariffs, they predicted, would hit consumers hard. Prices would skyrocket. Inflation would rear its ugly head. The cost of living would soar. Already there were signs of trouble. Stellantis, a major automaker, was forced to halt production. Plants in Mexico and Canada ground to a standstill. The reason? Tariffs had disrupted their supply chains. The result? 900 American workers lost their jobs. This was just the tip of the iceberg, experts warned. As the tariffs bit deeper, more companies would be affected. More jobs would be lost. The economy would slow down. The American dream would become even more elusive. The Trump administration dismissed these concerns. They insisted that foreign countries would lower their prices. They claimed that currency manipulation would offset any cost increases. But these assurances rang hollow. The reality on the ground painted a different picture. The tariff turmoil was just the latest chapter in Trump's tumultuous presidency. From day one, his administration had been plagued by chaos and controversy. He seemed determined to shatter norms and defy expectations. Trump's use of executive power was particularly alarming. He governed by decree, bypassing Congress and undermining the rule of law. He had empowered Elon Musk, the tech mogul, to dismantle parts of the federal government. His immigration policies were draconian and inhumane. The tariffs were of a piece with this pattern of behavior. They were a reckless gamble that threatened to destabilize the global economy. They were a sign that Trump was willing to put his own interests above those of the country. The Trump administration was a hotbed of intrigue and infighting. Officials came and went with alarming regularity. Loyalty was prized above competence. The result was an administration in a perpetual state of turmoil. In a particularly bizarre episode, 3 National Security Council staffers were summarily fired. Their offense? They had attended a meeting with Laura Loomer, a far-right activist. Loomer had accused them of disloyalty to Trump. This incident raised serious concerns about the administration's judgment and stability. If officials could be fired for such flimsy reasons, what did it say about the decision-making process at the highest levels of government? To make matters worse, there were revelations that officials had been discussing sensitive military operations on a chat app. Defense Secretary Hegseth was caught posting classified intelligence on social media. These security breaches were deeply troubling. They suggested that the administration was cavalier about national security. Despite the chaos and controversy, Trump retained the support of his base. His most ardent followers remained loyal. They believed in his America First agenda. They trusted him to bring back jobs and restore America's greatness. These supporters largely backed the tariffs. They saw them as a necessary evil. They were willing to endure short-term pain for long-term gain. They believed that Trump was fighting for them, even if it meant a trade war with China. This unwavering support was crucial for Trump. It gave him the political cover he needed to pursue his agenda, no matter how reckless or ill-advised. As long as his base stood by him, he could weather any storm. But even the most ardent supporter has their limits. If the economic situation worsened, if prices continued to rise, if jobs were lost, Trump's support could erode. The midterm elections in 2026 would be a key test. Voters would have their say on Trump's performance. If they felt he had led them astray, if they felt he had made their lives worse, they could punish him at the polls. History offered a cautionary tale. Past presidents had lost public trust by denying realities that voters could clearly see. Trump's denials about the potential for price hikes could come back to haunt him. If voters experienced economic hardship as a result of the tariffs, they would not easily forgive him. The tariff turmoil was a gamble. Trump was betting that he could defy the laws of economics, that he could win a trade war without inflicting pain on American consumers. It was a risky bet, one that could have dire consequences for both his presidency and the country.